Welcome everybody out to podcast number 479. We're going to talk today about what does remarkable look like. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. I just left a very high profile project with DPR Construction, and I'm going to do a little bit of a hodgepodge of just great things that I saw and also just describing what remarkable looks like. So I'm going to split this podcast into a couple different sections. Number one, I'm going to take you through a kind of an audible or virtual tour through the podcast. Then the other thing is I'm going to talk about good, better, and best when it comes to Takt planning and how to run schedules and run a job. And then the other thing I'm going to talk to you about is basically the essence of the last planner system and huddle systems. And so this is going to be fantastic. So let me tell you, when we go do our superintendent boot camps out here in Phoenix, Arizona, not only is the weather stinking cool and awesome, and it just like is really cool to be here, but when you get onto the project site, you come, and there's actually videos of this on the YouTube channels on Lean Field, if you want to check it out. And also I have blog posts on this. So if you want to see any of these pictures, just let me know. But if you go to their entryway, it is perfect, immaculate. All the signs straight up and down. The fence is perfect. The top of the posts are perfect. The signage is great. The roadways are swept. The trackout is beautiful. There is no trackout out on the road. I mean, the rock stabilization is absolutely remarkable. The project is clean. Everything is organized. The parking lot looks great. The parking stalls are painted, and on and on and on. Everything's beautiful. When people meet me for boot camp, they meet me at a big tent, their huddle board tent. And when we meet in there, there's probably 6 or 8 job-built boards with dry erase marker boards on them that have visual maps and weekly work plans. And there's a monitor inside an enclosed lockable case where they can access the model and any other electronic data. When you go in this tent, you can immediately see what they do for their huddle systems and how visual they are. When you go on a walk and you go through orientation, and you get your gloves, your hard hat, your safety glasses, and you make sure that everything's jammed and ready to go. And yeah, I think I got everything for PPE. You walk outside, no trash. You walk to the sidewalk, no trash. Walk across the road, no trash. Go into the gate, no trash. Walk alongside the gate, no trash. Walk across the trackout, no trash. Then you go into this large area where there is a multi-tabled lunch area and an area with a lot of really nicely clean porta potties, hand wash stations, and custom piped industrial hand wash areas with running water and soap. When you go out to that area, no trash. Everything's stabilized with rock, and there's a podium that's about 3 feet higher than everything else with handrail on it, and on the front of it, it has a stretch and flex visual, and there are speakers next to it with a right to know area. Every morning, the DPR teams, they have music playing for when workers queue in. So the workers will take their phones, go to the QR code, fill in their COVID-19 questionnaire to make sure they don't have any symptoms. The entry gate person will check that has been signified as green, meaning the worker's allowed to come on site, and they queue into the area. Okay, interruption here. Hold on. Sorry. Got a phone call, and now it's the complete next day. And I woke up, so my voice is going to sound differently. But anyway, let's go. So once they're queued into the area in the morning, they then come in. Music is jamming. I remember that last time I was there looking in the morning at the morning huddle, they were playing Brooks and Dunn, and the workers come around, and somebody gets up there on the stage, and they usually tell a joke or something, welcome, ask for feedback, do a stretch and flex, and then tell everybody on the project site what the major safety focuses for the day are, and if there's any other changes in schedule so that everybody can go do their work. Then the workers break off, and their foreman will go do what's called the crew preparation huddles, where they'll fill out their pre-task plans and work with the crews to become ready. And so when I'm going through this tour, I explain this, and people are like, wow, this is amazing. And then we show them the building. As we go down into the lower levels, you'll see organized what I would call like a trash removal area down at the bottom. And as you go inside, everything is beautifully clean and swept. Everything inside is nice and organized. All the cords are off the ground. It absolutely looks amazing inside. And I show them on the walls that there's a color-coded spray painting system where when a trade partner is finished with their inspections, the next trade will spray paint their color, and then the final color, black, means that it's ready to rock, and there's order, and every worker is working and focused on what they're supposed to be doing, and it's really quite a remarkable experience. And then we run up, and there's a kiosk, and the kiosk shows the model, and this is the electrical plumbing contractors, the kiosk that they use to reference the model and make sure all their overhead and in-wall is accurate, in addition to the room kitting drawings that they use for the wall. And as we go through, then this is usually a part of the tour where we show on BIM 360 Glue that all of the foremen have the model, can come directly to the location on the room by hitting the room number. And then when they do so, they can pan around and QC and make sure that what they're installing is exactly per the model and handle any problems right there in the field. And there's usually not any problems because with the model, they've gone all in. Usually at this point, I make a little joke, which is a lot funnier than people give me credit for. So I don't know why they don't laugh more, but I usually say, building information modeling is usually like marriage. You're either all in or all out. Anything in between is pretty expensive. And that's when you should be giggling right now too, because that's come on, Effie. That was funny. No? Okay. Anyway.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning like if you get a divorce and like you have child support and like alimony and stuff like that. Never mind. Okay. So anyway, then we go around the room and we start to see some of their huddle areas on the floors where the actual superintendents and foremen for that floor come and huddle in their specific area. We walk through the building and we see really good coordination posted up on the walls in the mechanical rooms. We see as we walk up through the stairs, great signage, wonderful handrail. And then it was interesting when we were doing the tour, there's one little pile of something like sawdust, like it's like a 6-inch pile of sawdust. And one of the people going through the tour was like, wow, that the whole building, I mean, and this is like 300,000 square feet of building plus, right? And this one little pile of sawdust stands out, and I'm like, that's interesting that out of all that square footage, one little inconsequential pile will stand out because everything else is so clean. Anyway, usually on the tour, I finish walking them through the building and we come out on level 1. We show them the prefabricated exterior wall panels, the plan for the cranes, how they run their logistics, and we come out on the front and you can see a really good view of the restrooms, the hand wash stations, the loading dock, which comes out really nicely around the dumpsters from the hoist. And like I said, you can everything that goes through the hoist is color coded for each of the trade partners, and everything is staged in its intentional location, meaning that every bit of material is pre-coordinated, and where it's supposed to go from the truck to the hoist and out to the floor, it's brought to that location or else it doesn't go to the hoist. You can see the forklift operator with a flagger out there. You can see trucks backing up with flaggers, and the entry is just beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, as you go out from the site, you see another part of the entrance and you're just wowed. And I tell people from the boot camp tour that, boot camp, and this is the first day of boot camp, but boot camp, you're not going to leave 3 days knowing a lot of things, but you will leave with an elevated sense of expectations. With a project tour and then the Takt simulations that we do, which I'm going to tell you about right now, and everything, all the little lean ideas, and I'll just go through them, one more time. Tents, huddle areas, the morning worker huddle, having music for the workers, the crew preparation huddles, right? The additional signage, room kitting, the advanced ways that they implement building information modeling, the fact that there's no cords on the ground, their inspection process, the way they organize crews from area to area and keep operational control, right? The way that they coordinate overhead ceiling locations and access to valves and things that the balancers will need with flagging. the way that they run their hoist, the way that they paint their pallets coming into the building. I mean, just idea after idea after idea, which has just become a normal part of how operationally excellent projects run. It's pretty remarkable. Their senses of expectations rise, and we get lots of comments as we leave the site and we take pictures. Now, we also usually, when we do, not usually, when we do a tour over at that project site, we do a Takt simulation. And we use an actual plastic 3D printed simulation, and I really enjoy using this simulation. We do a first round inside that tent where we just tell them, hey, go plan this project however you want. The second round, we say, hey, go ahead and use Takt planning and put it on a Takt time by zone. The third round, we do it right. And this ties into my little project example, is that when we just go schedule a project and we don't have any lean implementation, and when we don't have any schedule plans, it ends up being a little chaotic. And so if you were to watch this team that just walked this project go play this simulation, where we tell them schedule it however you want and then go play the game, and then when we're done, we'll stop the timer. They finished in 15.5 minutes when they stopped the timer. They were not on attack time, and they did not break it out by zones, and they finished in roughly 16 minutes. And their laydown area was all in one spot. It was disorganized. There weren't really clear assignments. There were no huddles. There really wasn't a system to what they were doing. Now, if they kept improving that system, they probably would have gotten to 15, 14, 12 minutes to complete the simulation. But instead of that, we say, all right, now let's do attack time. You've learned about Takt planning. Let's insert in this simulation, this plastic building game that you're playing. Let's insinuate a zones and attack time. So they chose 6 zones, and the attack time, because this is obviously just a simulation, was 46 seconds. And they started playing it, and they started getting frustrated. Some trades got off rhythm. Other trades were too big for the Takt time. People didn't know how to run from zone to zone. They attempted to start earlier. It was chaos. And I said to everybody on site, I was like, this is what it looks like typically when a general contractor learns about Takt planning, but they don't understand how to do it right and to insert production principles. They're still doing it the old, wrong, pushing way. And you can still really run a good project with it because you're focused on your starts and your and stops of your sequences, but it's not really flowing beautifully like we're supposed to. And so then the third way that we do it is we take all of the activities in the building that need to be done, we take their production rate, and we level the work. And then we create the right amount of Takt wagons, or, if you're not familiar with Takt planning, the right amount of packaged activities, and we really level that work. And then using Little's law, the formulas, they're very simple formulas, we figure out, based on how many zones we have and what our target time needs to be, what our Takt time should be for each area. And what we say is, hey, if we have 6 areas at this time, you can make it in 8 minutes. If you have 6 areas with this time, you can make it in 7 minutes. The 6 areas with this overall duration of time, you can have this many minutes, and you can go all the way from 8, 7, 6.5 to 5.5. And we say, let's keep it simple. Let's just keep 6 areas because that's what they chose. And let's target 8 minutes, nothing crazy. And let's get a good Takt time. And your Takt time on that example typically ends up being about 30 seconds. And they start playing. But before we start playing, we say, what are some things that we've learned so far? And what are some things that you took from the projects that, this is a good podcast. What are some things that you took from the the project tour that you want to implement? And so they'll say prefabrication, coordination, daily huddles, pre-staging materials, just like we saw it on site, having a logistics person field the materials on site, and doing pre-install meetings like we saw the project team do. And so we write down this list, and I'm like, okay, we'll do it. Let's do this round, and we'll do it exactly like we saw in the project. And so what we do is we start playing. But before we do each 30-second round, we do a little huddle. And so I'll ask them, hey, are you ready for this week? How are you going to install this? Let's do a mock-up. Do you have any roadblocks in your way? Do you feel like you have the capability and the focus and the logistics to get it done in your 30 seconds? And so we go through that meeting and we start the time. They do their 30-second window and the first trade does well. And we say, don't start the second trade until that takt time hits. And so then once that takt time hits, we say, all right, everybody, welcome out to our huddle. And the first contractor, which happens to be spot footings, will go to the next area. And then the grade beam contractor queues up. And we're like, all right, grade beam contractor, you're new out here. Are you ready for next week? Can you show me what a quality install looks like? Let's do a first in place. Let's do a mock-up. Do you have all of your safety information? Do you feel like you can make it on your time? And every week we go through a little coordination huddle, and this team will go through and play the simulation, doing it with the prefabrication, with the pre-staging, with the logistics help, with the pre-install meetings. I think I said additional communication with the huddles, and they'll have everything organized by area and the whole nine, right? Everything that they said they wanted to do, everything they saw when they just walked the project site, they implement in this third simulation with leveled work area by area, and they flow. It's beautiful, and people's eyes open up and they're like, wow, this is great. And 2 or 3 times they get a little bit behind, and we ask them, hey, do you think you can catch up, or do we want to use a buffer takt time and move all of the activities 30 seconds to the right? They use 2 buffers, and they stayed in flow all of the rest of the time, and they finished in 8.5 minutes, and their target was 8 minutes. The time before, when we did it before, their target was 8.5 minutes, and they finished in 8 minutes and 18 seconds. The point is, if you get on a takt time on a good rhythm with everything separated out by area, and you follow flow principles based on what they've seen, you can really start to drive down the time without frantic pushing and without chaos. Okay, so now let me go to my third point. If you were to do a last planner simulation and do a pull plan of an area, and do a first simulation where you don't have pull planning, a second one where you do, and a third one where they're really getting good at it by area, they would gain the same amount of time, just like we did on this takt simulation. The only difference is that a pull plan is a single area. Takt planning is taking pull plans that are broken up by multiple areas and putting them on a rhythm, flowing through the project site. And so I do want to say that whether you've ever used takt planning or the last planner system with pull planning, the only real difference is that pull planning does one sequence, takt planning does the same process with multiple sequences with multiple areas. And it really shows you how the trades flow from area to area. A pull plan will show you how work flows within the area. A takt plan or a takt simulation will show how work flows within the area and how trades flow from area to area. And the reason that this is important to me is that trade flow from area to area is the single most important type of flow that we'll see in construction, because when trades are flowing, work throughout the entire building site is flowing. And so when people leave this first day of boot camp, they'll see this remarkable project that you can do it with a $240 million project and 550 workers and keep it beautifully clean and organized and safe with lean implementation and lean huddles. And they leave seeing how you can create flow on a project site. It's by doing the simple things. It's by the foreman and workers working together. It's by us removing roadblocks. It's by us leveling work. It's by us keeping a clean, safe, and organized project site. It's by us making sure that we increase production by following production principles, right? And it's by us increasing capacity and making sure that the project team is balanced. And so I just want to say that these things aren't just me talking on a podcast. These aren't just things that Jason just says. I was there yesterday. It's a $240 million project, and it's a simulation and a flow that we're able to repeat anywhere we attempt it and where there's proper training. And so I want to say that this is what the vision looks like of a project well run. This is what it looks like when you have operational excellence. And imagine when everybody gets to this base level of excellence, where we can go from there, on we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and